All right, hello and welcome to everyone. Once again, my name is Jared Teed. I'm the product marketing lead for CRM Dynamics, and we're very excited to present to you the construction blueprint webinar today. Now, before we begin the webinar, I just wanted to go over a few housekeeping items. This webinar is being recorded and will be made available afterwards. And to ensure the sound quality is consistent, we have muted all the lines. And if you'd like to ask a question, please use the chat or question function on your control panel. We'll make sure to address them at the end of this session. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce our presenter for today, Evan Kosimidis. Evan has extended experience in Microsoft Dynamics CRM leadership roles. He has a background as a CRM consultant and has successfully implemented Microsoft CRM in the construction products and services vertical, among many others. And Evan now focuses his efforts on helping companies reach their full potential through the power of software from his current role as senior sales lead. So Evan, I'm going to pass it over to you and you can take it from here.
Perfect. Thanks, Jared. Hello, everyone. My name is Evan, as Jared mentioned. I'm going to bring you through our construction/manufacturing blueprint today. A couple of agenda items. We've already gone through the introduction. I want to go through a little bit about who we are as a company, a little bit about the Microsoft Dynamics platform. We're going to obviously jump into a product demo, and then we're going to discuss, we're going to have a little bit of an envisioning workshop where we open the floor to questions from participants in the webinar. So jump into a little bit about who we are. We have a wide range of experience with construction products and services. We help companies in manufacturing and production increase sales, reach business capacity, and increase their win rate. We have over 20 years of experience in CRM. We have experts in Microsoft Dynamics 365, and we offer training programs as well. We're an award-winning partner, so we were the Impact Award winner for 2019-2020, which puts us in the top 1% of partners globally, based off of the work that the work that we did with a customer, as opposed to licensing revenue or other metrics like that. Digital marketing, we help our clients grow enrollment with digital marketing tools and training. Business benefits realization. So we help organizations realize their goals through structured processes. So obviously part of any CRM project or successful CRM project is identifying those goals at the beginning and understanding if we actually met those goals with the solution that was implemented. So we help you do that. And last but not least, we are a Microsoft Gold certified partner, which is one of the highest classifications of partners you can get with Microsoft. So I want to bring you now to what I like to call our NASCAR slide. So I'm obviously going to point the focus to manufacturing and construction and some of the companies that we've worked on in that area. So have a look at that. If you have any questions about any of the projects that you see on this screen, please write a question in the chat or hold your question to the end. I'd be happy to discuss. Bidding and production, oversee the bid process with multiple subcontractors and bidding, and optional integration with Construct, Connect, or Dodge if you use any of those tools within your organization to find leads or get in touch with the key contacts that you need to related to a project. So one thing that I wanted to point out is the managed key processes included sales, estimation, bidding, and production. I'm actually going to walk you through two different types of sales processes today. A lot of the times you'll see just a standard sale with an opportunity where a project or a product is being sold to an end customer. But there's also a lot of cases where organizations in manufacturing specifically require the ability to manage bids. So whether that's through a third party contractor that's bidding on a project and you're selling the product to that contractor or third party, or if it's an RFP bid, being able to manage that documentation, key timelines, things like that. We can also help out with that. Okay. So a little bit about the Microsoft platform. So everything is leveraged based on something called the common data service. So essentially what this means is everything is leveraging one platform in the back. So one database in the back end. So Dynamics 365, Office 365, and the Power Platform, as you can see here, are all driven off of Azure, which is obviously Microsoft's cloud storage solution. So what this does is it really gives Microsoft an advantage in the sense that there's less integrations required. When everything's accessing one database, we don't need to connect systems together throughout the Microsoft ecosystem because they're all just pulling from that single source of truth or that single database on the back end. That includes Power BI for reporting, Power Apps for building mobile apps or user-specific applications within your organization. So for example, on a construction site, now with COVID, a lot of construction sites need to track everybody that goes in and out of that construction site. Power Apps will allow you to build an app that will actually allow somebody to almost take attendance or track who's coming out, who's going in, who's leaving that construction site, while capturing all that good information that you need in case something does happen on a site based off of the rules. You need to reach out to those people and let those people know that someone was sick on the job site. Go get yourself tested. So that's a very, very practical application for Power Apps in today's world. There's also Power Automate, which allows for workflows and automation between applications in the overall Microsoft platform, as well as within Dynamics 365. And then there's Power Virtual Agents, which opens up that that omni-channel communication platform, allowing for things like automated chat agents when somebody reaches out to your site, being able to direct them to the correct places or the correct job site, whatever it may be. You can have these virtual bots that will learn based off of responses that people are giving. So that's a little bit about the Microsoft platform and the common data service. No one else can really compete with this. This is very, very powerful. This is the way that I see software going in the future. Everything leveraging one database makes it easier for IT managers and the end users. Awesome. So now that we're done that, I am going to actually jump into the demo now. So as I mentioned, I will be showing you our construction/manufacturing blueprint today. So with most CRM solutions like this, everything is obviously centered around the account. So, opportunities are attached to the account, contacts are attached to the account, cases, if you're dealing with customer service tickets, are all centered around that account that we're dealing with, including our opportunities that we're trying to sell to a customer, obviously. So I'm going to open up one of our accounts here. Sorry about that. Okay. So I'm going to open up one of our accounts here. And one of the first things that I want to point out is the system has the ability to actually keep track of a customer hierarchy. So as you could see, sorry about that. That's what I'm looking for. As you can see here, we have Sharps Electronic Canada, which sits at the top of this hierarchy. Then underneath that, we have the London, Ottawa, and Windsor office. So this brings me into a very important point that a lot of the companies struggle with, and that is managing addresses. So on this account record, you have general information about the company. I'll come back to this, but based on the hierarchy, you can manage multiple addresses and actually identify which addresses are being used for which processes throughout the opportunity cycle. So I'll give you an example. In a lot of cases, we need to bill to one address, which might be the head office, but we need to ship a product or send a team to a different address, which is where the project might actually, or the manufacturing might actually be happening. So in that case, on the opportunity, we can actually identify which account is the billing account and which account is the shipping account or the project account. That allows the team that's moving this forward after the sales cycle to have all the information that they need to do things like send out invoices to the customer, or the logistics team to actually ship a product to the customer if need be, or supplies to the job site if need be. So very, very powerful address management there, but I want to jump into some of the other information. So obviously with any company, we have a company name, we have a phone number, we have email address, and all that relevant contact information for this company that you need. Some of the other things that are very, very important here are obviously we have a relationship type, which in this case would be customer. This could be a partner if you're dealing with a partner account. Sorry about that, I'm just going to reactivate my account here. So this could be a competitor, it could be a customer, it could be a prospect, a vendor. There's multiple different classifications of accounts that you'll probably need to keep track of. So in this case, this person may actually be a prospect because Sharps has not bought anything from us yet, but we may have an opportunity open with them that we're pursuing. We can also manage territories. So a lot of the times, especially with manufacturers, there's multiple territories that sales reps have to worry about. So let's sell our products into Ontario, and then someone else worries about Quebec, and there's someone else worrying about out west, which is BC or something like that. We can actually have your territories built in there so that we can start filtering these accounts by the various territories that they belong into. And this also leads us into security roles. We can actually tie security roles around these territories, so reps are only able to see the accounts that fall within their territories. There's a lot we can do with that. We work with your organization to figure out how your territories are laid out and how we can best build that into the system with tweaks and changes off of the actual blueprint. Some other good information to collect is websites, LinkedIn addresses, or URLs. I've already gone over some of the addresses as well. So that covers the basic information on the account record. Now, there's some other key pieces of information that I wanted to go through here. One of them being the engagement metrics. So in a lot of cases, companies will divide their sales reps into two types of teams, right? You have, and not always, but sometimes, you have the team that's chasing after net new opportunities. And then you have the team within your organization that's managing accounts and following up with these accounts on a monthly, bi-monthly, whatever it may be basis. So we've actually added a piece into the solution that allows for sales reps that are account managing to do so effectively. So if you have a look at this, we are labeling accounts as A, B, C, D accounts. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this concept. However, we can alter these days based off of what suits your organization best. But as you can see, A accounts we contact within 30 days, B within 60, C within 90, D within 180, and so on and so forth. So I am going to set this as a B account. And then I'm going to save this, which will refresh my record. And as you can see, my days left, my last contact date was actually yesterday. So I'm going to set that today. Sorry about that. And as you can see, my days left to contact has moved to 60. My days since last called has adjusted to 0. And my next contact date has been automatically set to 60 days out from my last contact date. Now, that being said, a task can actually be created automatically within the system and sent to Cindy Chan's activity list of things that she needs to do or follow up with. That way, when she comes in the morning, she can have an activity list that drives her daily activities of what she needs to do to follow up with all of the accounts that she's managing. I'm even going to take that a step further because we talked about two different types of reps, right? So we can have an owner, which is the person that closed the original account and is responsible for overseeing this account. But as you can see, Cindy is the account manager, and she's actually identified on this account as the account manager or the person that needs to reach out, follow up with this account every 60 days. So it really gives you the ability to manage multiple types of sales teams, not only territories and other things like that. So one of the next things I want to point out is the contact subgrid. So these are all the contacts that are related to the account. They could work for the account. They would work for the account if they're associated to the contacts grid. We can also identify a primary contact, which is the person, usually when you're working with an account, you have a sponsor or somebody that you're primarily dealing with on that account. The ability to identify that is very powerful because, knock on wood, say somebody gets sick or goes away or something happens, you need to know who that primary person to reach out to and get your updates from, or get that key information or communication from this primary person. You can also create other types of relationships, so people that are associated to these accounts. So in a lot of cases, especially if you're leveraging something like the Construct Connect integration, you're pulling in information about contacts that may not work for this account but are associated to it. So let's say Sharps Electronic Canada is actually building a building that they're going to use as an office, and they have an architect from a third-party company that's dealing with that account. You may want to link that architect. You can create a contact relationship with a contact, which company that contact actually belongs to, and then what is their role, and then a description of the relationship. So let's say, for example, Carly Brown was the architect. She worked for G Adventures Architecture. Her role was sales because that's the primary person that we're dealing with, but her description as the partner would be the architect for this account. So you have the ability to relate other contacts outside of the original contacts. the contacts that work for the company. So now I want to jump over to the assistant and the timeline, which relates to the engagement metrics. So I mentioned before that, what we can automatically create tasks based on the A, B, C, D accounts and the last contact date. So I want to actually talk about where those tasks are housed. So the timeline is a quite literally a very original name, but it's a timeline of what's going on between your organization and this organization. So some of the things that are on the timeline are appointments. So you can actually track appointments from the Outlook calendar or create appointments directly through here and send them out with Outlook invitations. You can track emails, and I'm going to show you how you can track emails through the Outlook integration shortly. Phone calls, pretty self-explanatory. If you have your phone system connected to CRM or Dynamics 365, what you can do is you can actually click the phone button here, and it will automatically create a phone call task. One other handy feature about phone calls, if I was to click this button, as you can see, it gives the ability to open this up in Teams because I have Teams set as my primary phone on my computer. And then it also opens up a phone call record with the person that I was calling. And it gives me the ability to enter a description or notes from the phone call as well, and an actual start and an actual end time for the phone call. So I'm not going to do that because it's going to hang up on everybody if I actually run that call. So I am just going to discard that. So just to get back to some of the tasks, you can also allocate activity scores, which is the ability to allocate scores to customers or leads or prospects based off of behavior. So for example, if they opened an email link, you would give them a score of 10, as opposed to if they just opened an email and didn't open the link, they'll get a score of 2. Based on those behaviors across LinkedIn, email, your omni-channel communication, so for example, chat as well as web tracking, we can actually give an accumulative score and identify which contacts or which companies are most interested in your products or services, and identify and actually, display those to the sales reps. So your sales reps are chasing after the leads, contacts, accounts that are most interested and most likely to convert into opportunities, as opposed to chasing after the accounts or contacts that haven't interacted with anything that your company has sent them or interacted with your website whatsoever, because they're obviously not that interested in your company. Okay, so there's a lot more I can go into with activity scoring and insights and AI tools that can help bring those key contacts that are interested up to the surface for your sales reps. However, we just don't have enough time today. If you'd like a demonstration of some of that functionality, we'd be happy to provide that. Please just reach out to Jared or myself after this webinar and we can set that up. Okay, so back to the timeline. As I mentioned, we have all those various types of activities here. So as you can see, we have a task, someone created an activity score, and various other information as well. So we have filters for the timeline as well. So we can filter by activity type. So let's say, for example, I'm the sales rep for this account. I am off for 2 months for some strange reason. Somebody has to take over for me. They can actually filter this timeline and they can go through all of the emails that have been tracked against the Sharps Electronic Canada account. So if I open this up, you can see we actually have the email thread that was sent and received through Outlook, not through Dynamics, directly here. Now, what I am actually going to show you how that works, because obviously this is a very, very important productivity tool with the overall platform. So as you can see here, I have somebody, it's myself, because it's an example, but just pretend that I'm the customer here. And I've emailed saying, hi, I would like to purchase 10 multi-gas detectors for our warehouse in London. And Evan works for Sharps Electronic Canada. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open up my Dynamics 365 pane here. And now that it's opened, you'll notice something. It's automatically recognized evancosmetis@gmail.com from the system, but we haven't tracked anything back yet. What's happened is Outlook's actually gone into Dynamics and it searched for a contact with this email. And it said, hey, I found this email against this record in the system. It's notifying you of that. So what I can do is I can actually either set regarding to this account, or I can go in and I can look up an opportunity, or I can go and look up a wide range of other information as well. So you can track these emails against opportunity records, cases or tickets, accounts, contacts, and various other records throughout the system. Because obviously, if you're emailing about a specific opportunity, you're probably not going to want to connect that email to a contact. you're probably going to want to connect it to the opportunity. So when somebody goes into the system and looks at that opportunity, they can see the emails that were related specifically to that opportunity instead of having to sift through other emails as well. So not only can we track those back, but the system is extremely flexible and allows you to organize those tracked emails into almost buckets of relevance. So now I will actually want to track this against Evan. So I can either search or I can click set regarding. And as you can see, the system has now tracked this against Evan Cosmides. Now, when I go back to my timeline in the system, just like I showed you with that email before that was tracked, you will actually see this email tracked in the timeline, and anybody can go in and see that has the security permissions to do so. Now, let's say Evan wasn't an account in the or a contact in the system yet. What I could do is I can click the plus button and I can add his account. I can add his contact. I can add him as a lead because he's obviously looking for some multi-gas detectors or an opportunity. So I'll show you for a lead, for example, because this is what we need to do next. So the system, if this wasn't already tracked back, the system would pull a lot of this information in automatically. So it would pull in first name, it would pull in last name, it would pull in email and things like that. We just don't fully have that configured in the system to do that yet. You can also create a topic for that lead and various other information. So you can create a whole lead and enter all that key information you need to see here without ever leaving Outlook, which is very, very powerful. That's pretty much it for the Outlook integration. There is some other functionality as well. So I can actually add things called knowledge articles to emails. So those are questions that you might get asked 30 times in a week and you're sick and tired of copying and pasting the answer from one platform to the other, because let's be honest, that's time consuming. Knowledge articles will actually give you the ability to store information within the CRM and take those templates and add them to emails at the click of a button through this integration here. It's very, very easy to use, and a lot of organizations that have those mundane, repetitive emails find this to be very, very powerful functionality. Okay, now I am going to jump back into the system here. So we've gone through a little bit about the timeline. Some of the other information on this account is obviously the child accounts that we have under Sharps Electronic Canada, if you wanted to get a visual list of that. Then one of the more important things that we have here is sales by product category, and this applies more to manufacturers than anybody else. So what this allows you to do is actually keep track of all of the sales or the numbers that we have for various product lines within certain organizations. So as a sales rep, if I'm going to make a call to this person, I may want to look at this and say, hey, product line D, we've sold $100,000 worth of product line D into this company, but we've only sold $35,000 worth of product line A. I'm going to try and find a way to fit product line A into my next call and grow this number. So it gives them a visualization. We can pull this information from your ERP system if there's an integration with the ERP system pretty easily as well. It's pretty easy to display on the account as well. So it's that very, very simple information that could be very, very powerful information for a sales rep that's looking to grow into an account. Okay, so that's it for the account. One other screen I actually want to show you on the account is the activity screen. So on the activity tab, we have open opportunities, we have active cases, we have invoices, and then we even have a dashboard related to opportunities on this account. So this is a Power BI dashboard. The reason I show this is to let you know that whatever type of dashboard that you would like to have embedded on an account record, the system's flexible enough to allow Power BI dashboards and even out-of-the-box Dynamics dashboards to be embedded on account records. And the information will actually filter based on the account that you're looking at. So you can build one dashboard, and essentially what the dashboard is saying is, I am associated to Sharps Electronic Canada's account. Please only show me the relevant filtered data relating to Sharps Electronics account. Okay, so I'm actually going to jump into an opportunity here now, because obviously we had somebody at Sharps Electronic Canada that was looking at multi-gas detectors based on the email I showed earlier. Now, one of the things that I want to point out is the ability to, the business process flow at the top here. This is a set of steps with fields or information that you need to gather at each step. So as you move on from, let's say, for example, assess to an internal review or an estimate, we need to have this information before we can move on there. We can make some of these fields mandatory, so a rep can't move past one stage until they have a key piece of information identified. Or they can just be open like they are here and allow for somebody to just select next stage once the information is completed. and so on and so forth, until eventually we get to negotiate and we close this deal as one, which is obviously any sales rep's favorite button in the system, or their least favorite button in the system. We close this opportunity as lost and we move on to the next one. Okay. So some of the other information that you can collect on an opportunity is obviously a topic. What is this opportunity related to? In this case, it's related to multi-gas detectors. And who is actually buying this? So who is this opportunity related to? It's related to Sharps Electronic Canada. We have a primary contact that we're dealing with from the on this opportunity. So as you notice, Sarah Thomas was our primary contact on the account. However, we might be working with Cameron for this specific opportunity. So the primary contact you set on the account is just your primary key contact for the whole entire account. You can have a different primary contact for the opportunity. Some of the other key tidbits of information, and this is not 100% yet. Every customer or every company has a different set of points that they need to gather about a specific opportunity or specific companies they're going through. These are just some general ones that we've taken from best practices. So don't think what you see here is what you get. We can actually change this up depending on the needs of your organization. So we have a budget amount. Obviously, you want to try and figure out what the budget amount is so you know what realm you're playing in, what type of products, what caliber of product, or what caliber of project can we offer. And we try and fit that within their budget range. Or if they don't have the budget we need, we kind of just move on and say, you know, we're not the right person for you. We have a description of the opportunity. So anybody that comes in and looks at this opportunity can see what's it about. And then we have 3 pain points that you can collect here. So these are the 3 main points that your customer is trying, or the pain points that your customer is trying to solve by either leveraging your services or purchasing your products. So in this case, the person's trying to purchase multi-gas detectors for their warehouse in London. Obviously, their multi-gas detectors are outdated or something like that. That's going to be one of the pain points. We need to ensure that our warehouse workers are safe when they're from, gas leaks and things like that while they're in our facility. We have a proposed solution. So in this case, we're going to sell them Sony multi-gas detectors. I don't know if Sony sells multi-gas detectors, but for the sake of this demo, we're going to pretend they do. And then we have a compelling event. And then you can also list some competitors that are involved in the opportunity as well. The reason why you'd want to start tracking competitors is obviously to run analytics on what competitors are we losing to, which competitors are we winning against, and how can we make our sales team stronger against specific competitors. So some of the other information that we can collect is just general opportunity information. So how many days has this opportunity been open? And that's very important for specific dashboards that I have within this demo environment, such as, coaching opportunities. How many days is a sales rep spending on each opportunity, and how can we reduce that and make the team more efficient? Then we have a purchase time frame. So when is the customer looking to purchase this product or utilize your services? Then we have a purchase process. So as an individual, is it a committee? Is it an RFP? We can also add bid to this as well if you're bidding through a third-party contractor. I'll get into that functionality in a little bit. Obviously, estimated revenue, which varies from the budget amount. The estimated revenue is what we think, what the estimate was, or what we think this opportunity will actually generate as we go further down the sales cycle. So I'm going to change this up a little bit. So it's a little bit different than our budget amount, and I will save that. So now that is saved. Then we have a probability. So probability is very important for certain sales teams. Well, actually, most sales teams that I've worked with in my time. So I'll give you an example of what we do in our organization. We have 10, 20, 50, 90. 10% means that we don't even know if this is a real deal yet. 20% means that, there's a real deal here, but we don't even know if we have an outside chance of winning this. 50% means, there's 1 or 2 other competitors left in this opportunity. We have a good chance of winning this, but I don't want it to be, I don't want my manager to think this isn't a 100% sure thing deal. Then we have 90%, which is that 100% sure thing deal when you have that verbal confirmation from the customer. And at 90%, you are saying to the management team that I guarantee that this deal is going to close. You can go back to the operations team and say, hey, we're going to have or the finance team and say, hey, we're going to have this revenue next month. If I have something at 90% and that deal doesn't close, I get a pretty, a call that I don't want from my sales manager. So part of the reason why we use probability is obviously to help with forecasting. The closer you can get your sales team to forecasting those opportunities, the more accurate your numbers that you give to the finance team or the operations team will be, which makes your team look better, obviously. We can even take that a step further and create some dashboards for your team that says, okay, how close is our forecast to the actuals? So you can start measuring your sales team's probability accuracy, and you can get the team better based off of analytics and what you're seeing through the data at predicting those probabilities, which makes your forecast better in the long run. You can have a contract term. So obviously, if this is a contract, so say, for example, we are doing monthly maintenance on a building or something involved with the building, like a security camera, for example. We're doing monthly maintenance every month. We're going to say, but the contract lasts for 2 years. We're going to say the contract term is 2 years. We have an estimated close date. By the way, the system we can automate the system to manage a lot of those contracts. There's a field service module if you're doing things like managing a contract where there's dispatches and things like that, where we can automatically pass that information across to the field service module and automatically create those work orders to dispatch those people that need to go out and do the service. Same thing with logistics through Business Central, which is the ERP system. Once this opportunity closes, we can create logistic or shipping orders in the back end for products based on opportunities and closing and things like that. So there's a lot you can do with a wider set of Microsoft products within the ecosystem, but let's keep it specific to CRM now. I just wanted to let you know that that is what's possible in the future. So the estimated close date, you obviously want to have an estimated close date is when you think this is going to close for obvious reasons, including forecasting. A revenue start date, if you actually want to list when this revenue will start to come in, if the project doesn't start for 2-3 months from now. And a previous owner, if this account has been passed from one rep to another or a rep leaves or something like that, we can identify who the previous owner was. So that's the general information about the opportunity. Once again, this screen is customizable. We can change the screen based off and add fields, remove fields based off of the need of your organization. Microsoft makes the system so it is very, very flexible in that way. So now I want to jump into the product line items tab. So a lot of companies will actually quote using line items, obviously. So in this case, if we're selling multi-gas detectors to a construction site while they're building a Walmart, for example, we can actually add that as a product line on the opportunity. So we're pulling from price list A right now. Price lists pretty much give you the ability to sell the same products at different prices based on different scenarios. So let's say, for example, we're selling to a company that we've done work with for 20 years and they get a 10% discount on multi-gas detectors because they've been such a long-standing client. We would put them on the 10% discount or long-standing client price list, and the products that you add to that price list may be discounted by 10% for the specific opportunities or accounts that have been associated to that price list. So in this case, we're going to use pricing A, and we're going to add a product. So there's 2 ways that you can add products. You can either add existing products or you can add write-in products. So I'm going to show you with a existing product first. So as you can see, I'm going to look up from an existing product catalog on the back end, and I'm going to see multi-gas detectors here. And I'm obviously going to have a unit of multi-gas detectors. So this is each. If I was selling Coca-Cola beverages, this would be in liters as opposed to each. But no, we're selling individual units here. We have a choice to override the price or use the default price that's attached to this product on the specific price list that we're dealing with. In this case, we're just going to use the default. If you wanted to override it, you could go 900 and then click enter, and it would be $900 as opposed to 1,000. But we'll just use the default. We have a quantity. So let's say they need 20 of these for our warehouse based on the building plans that they provided our company. And then we can get tax and things like that to automatically calculate based off of what's put in the system. I don't have anything set up in the back end of the system for a tax rate because, you know, it all depends on where you're based out of. But we could add tax if we wanted to, or get that to automatically calculate. We save and close this now, and it is actually going to add a line item to my opportunity. So as you can see, it's also totaled up the totals. So we're going price per unit is 1,000. We have quantity 20, and it's actually going to give me the extended amount, including the $130 tax that I added on. You can also see that information here, and you can add discounts. So if I wanted to add a 10% discount, or I could add a dollar amount discount here if I wanted to. I can add freight amount in. So if you're working with Business Central or another ERP system and we have a connection between the two, we can actually pull that freight amount information in if there's a specific multiplier or whatever that you use for freight. There's various ways that we can go about that. So I'm going to save this record now. Oh, it's already saved. And I'm actually going to generate a quote. So one thing that I want to mention about a quote, the quote is the actual information that you're going to send to the customer. You don't want the customer to see all the information on the opportunity record, including things on the summary and things like that. So we're going to create a separate quote record. And there's another reason why you want to do this. Sometimes when you're working on an opportunity, you're going to go through 2, 3, 4, sometimes 10 versions of quotes before that customer actually signs on the dotted line. So creating a quote record actually lets you create a quote that's a snapshot in time. You can click the new quote button at any time and generate this record as many times as you want as the data changes on your opportunity record. But the quote will actually have a unique ID. It will have a date that this quote was created. You can set an effective from and an effective to date if you're giving the customer a deadline as to when they need to sign off by. There's a lot of things that you can do with the quote record. But once again, the important piece of information to note is this is a snapshot in time. That is what differentiates it from your opportunity record. Now, from here, you can have information like your shipping method. So if we're shipping via UPS, you can have payment terms, freight terms. So in this case, it's freight on board, address that we're shipping to, address that we're billing to, and we can get this to automatically calculate based off of what's specified on the opportunity record if you would like, and maybe a little bit of a description if you want to write a message to the customer that's going to go on the quote. So now that we have this quote, we can activate this quote as the current active quote, because as I mentioned, we may have multiple quotes that act in a snapshot of time. You want to actually activate this quote and make it the primary quote that is out for review with the customer. And as you can see, once we send it off to the customer, this record becomes read only, because we don't want anybody changing this because it's a snapshot in time now. So from here, we can export this to PDF. We can use Word templates to generate these quotes. So this isn't going to be the prettiest template in the world because it's, there's no graphics or anything like that, but you can use a Word template with your own branding and things like that and actually map the fields back into CRM that are on the Word template. And give me a second here, my Word's firing up. Perfect. So now we have a quote that was generated based off of what we had. We had multi-gas detectors. We had 20 as the quantity. We had a unit price of $1,000, which gives us our grand total, the total due. You can have your company's terms and conditions down here. You can have your logo and branding at the top. Anything that you can build out in a Word template is acceptable because we upload that Word template to Dynamics. We map those fields back, and we essentially, you just click create the quote template from a Word template, and that's how it generates this. Very, very simple. We can email this off through the system as well automatically. The button is not available here, but you can actually generate this, export it to PDF, and send the email out to the customer as well, if that is what you want to do. So that's a little bit about the quote record. I now want to jump into the bids. So I've showed you the general opportunity where we're just selling something to an end customer direct. Now I actually want to show you what a bid would look like, or what it would look like if we were selling through a third-party contractor, essentially. So in this, I'm going to open up my opportunity here. And as you can see, the opportunity is almost identical to what we had on the selling direct to an end customer opportunity. The one thing that differentiates this opportunity is the ability to manage bids to various contractors. So at the top here with our opportunity record, as you can see, this is dealing with the building of a Walmart. So the opportunity record represents the building of the Walmart. The bid record, which you see here where my mouse is, represents the actual record in which it represents the third-party contractor that is bidding on the Walmart. And then the bid line represents the various products that we are quoting to the contractors that are bidding on the overall Walmart. So it will start to, I know that's a little bit confusing, but it will start to make a lot more sense as I go through this. So as you can see, in this case, the buyer is Walmart, the seller is contractor one, because contractor one is selling to Walmart, and you're providing contractor one with the estimate. And in this case, the primary contact that we're dealing with is Homer Simpson for this opportunity. So that's who the quote's going to, and that's who's actually bidding on the Walmart itself. So I'm not going to go through this other information because I went through it on the other opportunity. It's very, very similar. I actually am going to jump right over to the bid section. So as you can see here, we have contractors. So contractor one is actually bidding on this Walmart. So contractor one represents the third party that is selling to or bidding on the Walmart project that we're quoting to. So we have a unique bid ID. We have a bid type. So is this reseller consignment? Is this reseller non-consignment? Is this direct customer? We have a value, and the value is actually totaled up from all the bid lines or the products that we're selling to the contractor who's bidding on the Walmart. We have the subcontract that the subcontractor that we're obviously selling to. We have an end customer, which is Walmart. We have the opportunity that this bid is related to, because obviously this is in a hierarchy of opportunity, bid, then bid line. We have an expected close date. So when do we expect this bid to close? Which sales rep is dealing with this specific bid? Because you may have multiple contractors coming to you for the same Walmart bid. You may have different estimators or different sales reps that are managing each of those contractors. So I may manage contractor one normally, and Steve may manage contractor two, but they may be bidding on the same thing. So we need to be able to identify different reps for those different contractors in the different bids. We have sales reps email. We have a customer contact. We have the price list. Which price list are we pulling from? So pricing A is the one that we used for the last example. In this case, we're pulling off a general price list. And then we have win-loss. So this is essentially who won. So if we come here and contractor one won this bid, we would mark that as won. If they lost it, we would mark them as lost, because we want to start tracking our contractors. We want to start creating dashboards that say which one of our contractors is winning the most. Because if you have a contractor that's winning 90% of the bids that you quote them on, but you have another contract that's only winning 10% because they're getting greedy and they're marking their products up, you may want to give preferred pricing to contractor one, because he's gone out and he's winning 90% of those deals. You want to give him the tools he needs to make sure that he secures that business for both himself, and him securing business for himself is securing business for your organization. So that's one reason why you'd want to do that. So that's a little bit on the bid. Now I'm actually going to jump into the bid lines, which is the products that we're estimating for contractor one to sell to Walmart. So I'm going to open up one of those bid lines now. So this is a bid line for, hypothetically here, a bolt one that we're selling to for the plans, the architecture plans for Walmart. We obviously have a, sorry, hang on one second. Oops. So let's say, for example, we're quoting this estimator a ductwork package for the ductwork that's going to go into this Walmart project. So as you can see, we have a unique identifier here. So let's say ductwork is the identifier for this bid line. We have a product ID, which in this case would be the aluminum ductwork package. So in the back end, you can have individual products, you can have product bundles, and you can have product families. So in this case, the aluminum ductwork package is a product bundle with multiple products underneath that product bundle. So we're actually quoting a bundle of multiple products here. We have a price list, as I mentioned before. So in this case, general price list. Then this is where we have our standard costs. So how much does it cost us to manufacture this aluminum ductwork package? So let's say it costs us $1,000 to manufacture this aluminum ductwork package. And the standard price that we sell this package for is $1,500. So we're looking at about $500 margin here, and I'm going to save that. But the contractor comes back to us and says, I'm not going to win with the price of $1,500. I need you to reduce that price to $1,300 per ductwork package for me to win this deal. So then the rep's going to enter $1,300 here is the requested price from the contractor who's bidding on the Walmart. As you can see, we have a I gotta save that to update the record. As you can see, we have an updated discount amount of $200, $1,500, subtract $1,300 is $200. We have a discount percentage. We have a quantity of units that we're selling. So this person might need 10, let's say they need 652 based on the architecture plans. They need 652 of these packages to build the Walmart, which calculates a value, which we saw on the opportunity. What was the value of the opportunity? This is the field that it's pulling from. So we have $847,600, which is the quantity, obviously multiplied by the requested price, because we want to see what we're getting at the requested price. Then we have customer request details and reason for special pricing. So the customer is looking for ductwork for the Walmart package. we were too expensive. So you want to mark off why we're actually reducing the price. And in this case, we're going to say it was a competitive situation. So we had to reduce based off a competitive situation, and the probability of winning at this price is 90%. So now I'm going to save that. Okay, so once we filled out all this information and we have this requested price of 1,300 and how much money we're losing at this requested price and all that good information, we actually have a review process. So as you can see, this requested price has not been reviewed by management team or approved by management team. So a manager comes in here and may look at the price and say, I like the price. We still make margin on this. This is good. I'm going to approve the price at 1,300. And that's still going to give us a margin of $23.08 per product. And we have an alternative approved price. If you want, if the manager says that's too low, I'll go in at 1,400. We can have an alternative approved price here if you'd like. And then obviously as the opportunity pushes through, it will go, the quote will go out at this price. For now, for the sake of this, we're going to leave it at the same. So we're going to say, yes, that was approved. And then once the approval person has finished approving, the field will be set to this. They can say approved now that we've approved this. And the reason you see this little key beside the field is because it's a controlled field. That means that only a manager with the security role that applies to this field can change this field. So as an estimator, I can't go in and just approve my own estimates. It has to go through this controlled process in the system. I can also have my supply chain update me as to if we have the products that are necessary, and they can approve. So let's say, for example, they say approved, we can meet deadlines and have the inventory to start. And then we can, and if there was a bid change, so say, for example, all this has been approved, and then a sales rep goes in and they change a specific data point in here and go to 1,200, for example. This will, the update field will change to yes, because there was an update in the bid, and it will show what the update was. And then this field will automatically be split to required pending. Because now we need a manager to come through and approve this price again. So it doesn't let people play with the numbers even after the approval is done. It really keeps consistency across the estimators, the organization, and the approval process. Last but not least, we can track global inventory. What do we have where? So that we can make sure that we have the inventory in the right place to ship to somewhere, whatever it may be. I've even seen this done on product lines. So for example, they have the various product lines here listed here as opposed to the countries. And we configured the system to show how much of each product line or SKU that they had so that when they were estimating, they could quickly look at that and do an inventory check. So that's the high level functionality of the solution. The solution goes into more information as well, such as account planning, account metrics. So tracking where we are with an account versus where we want to be, SWOT analysis for account planning and account goals and things like that. I don't have time to get in that today. I would like to get into dashboarding and show you some dashboards. So these dashboards were made through Microsoft's very powerful dashboarding and analytic tool called Power BI. So this is just a very high level general dashboard of some information. And one of the key points that I want to show about this dashboard is the ability to drill down into various data points. So as you can see here, I have a general sales pipeline. This might be a manager's dashboard. You could have a sales rep's dashboard that's the exact same, but the information is specific to the sales rep. It really depends on the needs of your organization. But let's say, for example, I just want to see the information that's going on with this develop stage of the sales pipeline. I can actually click the develop stage, and all the other information on the graph, as you can see here on the looking ahead, it's adjusted to only show what is on my, or what data point I selected on the graph. If I do that again, it will actually drill back up to all the data that is displayed on the graph. So they make it very easy for you to drill down into the data. And one thing I always say to customers that makes Power BI so powerful is a lot of the times when you had to pull reports from Excel or from a database using Excel, you would need 6 or 7, sometimes 8, 9, 10 reports to for a simple meeting where you're going through some sales numbers and then individual sales numbers, sales rep numbers, and then drill down into product lines. You can do all of that with one dashboard and just drill down. So you're going from 7 paper dashboards that you would need into a meeting to one live dashboard that will display all the same information that those 7 Excel reports will display to you. So it's very, very powerful stuff. One of the other things that I want to show is the ability to add filters and quickly filter down through information. So if I'm looking at a dashboard of the opportunities that I currently have open, just general information about those opportunities, as you can see, I have filters on the left-hand pane here. I can say, show me stuff that's between 2019 and 2020 and filter that way with these bars. I can say filter by opportunities that are between specific revenue or between a specific revenue threshold. So if you want to look at your elephant deals that you have in your pipeline, you can actually identify, the lowest value, enter that into the filter, and it will filter all these graphs based on this filter. Some of the other things you can do is I can say, I want to see all of Canada as opposed to the US and Canada. I want to see Central Canada. So as you can see, it's drilling down. I want to see just Ontario East. It's further drilled down. And I want to see just Barb's numbers. So it's drilled down to Barb. And I can go right back up to the top very quickly by clicking that button again, and it brings me out from the filter there. So there's a lot of dashboards I could get into as well that we have built into here, as you can see. However, I don't have the time to get to them all, and every organization usually has some sort of customer niche needs for dashboarding. So we like to work through your dashboarding requirements with you and build out those dashboards that will reduce those 7 reports down to 1 for that key sales meeting that you have at the end of every month. So that is pretty much it, or at least the bulk of what I had for the webinar. So thank you for joining. I'm going to open up the floor to any questions that anybody may have now. Is there any questions?
Hey, Evan, we do have a question. Does this blueprint have the ability to manage contracts as well?
Yes. So the blueprint does have the ability to manage contracts at a high level. If you're looking to manage a contract that has like monthly maintenance or something like that, and recurring maintenance, we would have to look at the contract, look at your process, and yes, we can configure the system to do that. However, every company has a very unique way of managing contracts, and a lot of contracts are different. So some contracts might be to supply goods, whereas others might be to dispatch somebody to a site to provide a service for that customer. So we'll work with you to look at what you need to capture from those contracts and how we can get the system to manage those contracts through triggers, task allocation, dispatches, logistics, whatever it may be.
Okay, great. Yeah, great answer. That's all I'm seeing for questions. It looks like you answered a few along the way. Really appreciate you taking the time. Hopefully everyone learned quite a bit during this session. Anything else you'd like to add?
Nope, not on my end. That's pretty much it. If you have any other information about the solution or you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or Jared. We'd be more than happy to help. And we can set up something a little bit more tailored to your organization or have a discussion a little bit more tailored to your organization if need be.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks so much, Evan, and thanks everyone for joining. And see you next month. Bye-bye.
Problem. Thanks, Jared. Bye.